I'm glad that you've decided to learn more about ProMax and how to use it. The following tutorial should acquaint you with the basics of how to find and use some of the many functions available in ProMax. If we start up ProMax, you will first see the splash screen. This screen gives you details on what version of ProMax you are running and also who this version of ProMax is licensed to. The screen that then appears is where you would choose what file you would like to open. If you are creating a blank new file, select Blank ProMax Project. If you would like to open an example of ours, choose Open Example. If you would like to open a file you were previously working on, select it from the given list at the bottom of the dialog. Quite often we suggest starting new projects from our examples, as these will help give you a leap in the right direction with much equipment drawn and specifications already made. Any ProMax project can be easily modified to match your requirements. Let's choose Open Example and take a look at what is offered. ProMax has almost 200 separate examples within 13 categories. These cover many different topics, ranging from amine and physical solvent sweetening to crude fractionation, sulfur recovery, and some to demonstrate how to use our scenario tool and calculators, along with many others. For this overview, let's select the Refining category. Let's choose the Crude Fractionation Tower and take a look at a project with an oil and a column with some pump around loops and side columns. First, you can notice that what is opened has several sections. The largest of these is the drawing page. This is where the flow diagram of the system is drawn and the easiest place to make specifications and changes to the unit. To the side and bottom of the screen are scroll bars that will allow you to move the visible flow page up, down, left, or right. Below this is a section that right now is completely blank. This is the message log area and will show information about the simulation, including all messages about how an execution of the project is progressing and any errors or warnings that are being generated by the simulation. To the left are the default stencil sets, or shape sets, that load for ProMax. These are categorized by unit operation and will all be discussed in detail in later tutorials. These stencil sets can be rearranged or even closed if desired. Selecting one of the titles of a different shape set will expand that set. Here are the fluid drivers, including pumps, compressors, and expanders. Up here are the default distillation column sets. You are in no way limited to these types of distillation columns, but these help start the most common types. Any of these can also be modified to fit your specific needs. If you look up the menu bar, you can see a menu titled ProMax. If we select this, we can see the options that ProMax gives us. The first option is the Project Viewer. This opens a dialog where all specifications and information are kept and entered. We'll see this Project Viewer in a moment. The next option is for flow sheets. ProMax can have multiple flow sheets within the same project linked to each other, each with a different environment. This gives you control over the names and environments of each of those flow sheets. Environments allows you to choose what property package and components are available for each environment that you create. We'll take a look at this also in a moment. Oils takes you to a dialog for specifying either curve oils or single hypothetical components. ProMax is very well integrated with Microsoft Excel. By choosing this option, an Excel spreadsheet is opened and embedded inside of the ProMax project you are working on. This embedded spreadsheet allows for very simple importing and exporting between ProMax and Excel. It is a fully functional copy of Excel, so all features are available, giving unlimited possibilities for use. The Execute button actually gives a small submenu of the options that it has. First is the Execute Project option. This will execute all blocks and flow sheets in the entirety of the project. The next option is to execute Flowsheet. Since ProMax allows you to have as many flow sheets as you would like, this gives you the option to only execute one of them easily, so you can execute your glycol dehydration unit without worrying about whether it is also executing your amine sweetening or class plants. If you have only a single block or a small selection of blocks that you would like to execute, the Execute Block button is available for this. During any execution, if you decide you need to stop it, there is an Abort Execution button. This will stop the execution immediately in most cases and at the next breakpoint in all cases. The Clear All Calculated Data option gives you a chance to reset the project if you have made some significant changes to the operating conditions. This allows ProMax to start with default values based on your input instead of the last solution based on the previous conditions. Continuing down the ProMax menu, the message log is currently grayed out. This is where, if we were to close the message log at the bottom of the page, we can open it back up. Since it is already open, this option is not currently available. The Report option allows you to generate simulation reports in various formats, including RTF, Word, and Excel. We will cover reporting in detail in a later tutorial. All warnings ProMax generates can be found in the message log. However, the warning button allows an easy way to see them all grouped together and is always easily accessible. The last choice is for the project options. This gives a place where global variables are set for this project. We will look at these options in just a moment. First, you can see that all of these options we just covered are also available in a very convenient toolbar. From left to right, these are the Project Viewer, the Project, Flowsheet, and Block Execute options, the red hand to abort execution, the Message Log, Project Options, Flowsheets, Environments, Oils, the Warnings list, and the ProMax Help option. The ProMax Help topics can also be found under the Help menu in the menu bar. In addition to the Flowsheet menu option, you can also create a new flowsheet by right-clicking down on the current Flowsheet tab. One of the options that appears after right-clicking is to add flowsheet. Selecting Insert Page instead will add a new Visio page, not a ProMax flowsheet. The File menu gives the standard options of saving the file. If this is the first time it's being saved, you will be prompted to give it a name and a location to save it. If it has been saved prior, it will overwrite the last saved edition. Save As gives you the chance to save a previously saved file under a different name. It will not overwrite the previous edition. To open a new blank project, select New. If you have not saved the Open ProMax project when you select this, it will first prompt you to do this. ProMax can only have one project open in the same instance of Visio at a time. Multiple instances of ProMax can be run simultaneously, but not in the same window. To open a previously saved copy of a project, select Open. The same prompt for saving the current flowsheet will appear. To open one of the almost 200 example files that loaded with ProMax, choose Open Example ProMax Project. Again, the prompt for saving your current project will appear. It will then take you to the choice of the 13 categories of examples that we saw earlier. Starting in version 3.0, ProMax will allow you to append a previously exported ProMax project into your current project, essentially merging the two projects. To make the project available for appending, select the Export ProMax Project option. Close will close the current project, but leave ProMax open. It will prompt you to save if you have not already done so. Exit will close the current project and ProMax, and will again give you the option to save your file. Let's take another look at the flowsheet. Much information about the process conditions can be found by simply hovering over the stream or the block. The information that's shown in these tooltips is also fully customizable. If we double-click on the stream, the Project Viewer will open with information on the stream. The Project Viewer was the first option from the ProMax menu options, but by double-clicking on the stream, it has already selected the correct stream out of the project and is displaying information specific to that stream. The first tab of information gives the properties that ProMax will display by default: temperature, pressure, mole fraction vapor, flow rates, and other information. Starting in version 3.0, ProMax will allow you to hover the cursor over any of these values and see what they are in other unit sets. This is very helpful if you're not familiar with the unit set being used in a project, but do not wish to override the display units for the project. Here's an example showing 85 psi-A in other units. Selecting the next tab brings up the composition of the stream in mole fraction by default. Other composition bases are available, including molar flow, mass fraction, and mass flow. What if there were properties or composition bases that we were interested in that aren't shown in ProMax by default? These can be modified by going into the project options. First, selecting the red X in the top corner will close the project viewer. Select ProMax from the menu bar, and then Project Options. The first tab here gives you options for different unit sets. ProMax loads with 8 options. The default option set is typically U.S. English. This project has been changed to the U.S. English Refinery Operations choice. You are not limited to these options, as many different unit sets can be made as you would like and are easily customizable in our Options XML file. We will cover this in a later tutorial. Fractional units are shown as percentages by default, but fractions can be used. Also, absolute pressure is the default, but gauge can be chosen from this screen as well. If your unit is located somewhere that the atmospheric pressure is different than sea level, this can be set, as well as many other constants used in the project. Convergence options can be set in the next tab. However, we typically recommend never changing these settings. There are better ways of adjusting recycle or block tolerance values than the project-wide changes that this would set. The next tab is what we are interested in. Since the stream did not include some of the properties or composition bases that we were perhaps interested in, this is the place to add them. Selecting a property, such as API gravity, and selecting the right-facing arrow will place that item at the bottom of the list of selected properties. This list is in the order that they will show on the project viewer and can be easily reordered from this page. If we would like a new composition basis, then we can do the same thing from the lower set of options. Let's add the normal vapor volumetric flow rate. The last tab of the Project Options dialog is for any azeotropes or infinite dilution activity coefficient information you may have for particular systems. Pressing the OK button will close this and take us back to the flow sheet. Let's take a look now at the environment that is selected for this project. Instead of going to the ProMax choice from the menu bar, let's select the small Erlenmeyer flask from the ProMax toolbar. We can see that this environment has been titled SRK Environment, and then see that the selected package is the SRK package. If we right-click in the predefined packages area, an option for What's This appears. If we select this, we can see that a small help tooltip appears, giving us some recommendations of property packages for certain systems. Much more detail is presented in the actual help topic, but this small reference guide is useful and easy to find. If you feel that none of the predefined packages are appropriate for your specific case, ProMax allows for the creation of custom packages. This allows you to choose what liquid and vapor predefined packages you would like to start with, and allows you to then modify them as you might like. Switching back to the predefined package, let's now look at the components list. ProMax has over 2,000 unique components. Several filters are available, including by name, formula, chemical type, or classification. When typing a name into the Name field, the choices are narrowed down to only those containing what you have typed so far. Any oils you have created for the project are also selected to be used in this environment on this page. In this case, Oil A and Oil B are selected, while BP Curve Oil is not. Selecting OK will save any changes we've made and return us to the flow sheet. If any changes are made, the flow sheet will unsolve itself and force a recalculation using the new environment. Let's take a quick look at how the oils are specified. Again, let's go to the ProMax menu and then select Oils from the options. This screen allows us to create new oils or modify existing oils, and also create any oil blends we would like to use. Let's take a look at the oil A already characterized. Select it from the list and then choose Properties. The first tab here gives the assay information. In this case, a TBP was provided. Any of the properties ProMax generates based on this data can be modified to better reflect information on the crude. As much information should be entered as is known, for ProMax to have the best information available to simulate the crude from. ProMax designates cut points based on the information you provided in the assay. If you do not like the automatically generated cut points from the crude, you may change the number of cuts and the temperature range for those cuts. ProMax also gives you the ability to specify whether the crude contains light ends or not, and if it does, you can then specify the light ends that the crude contains, or choose to use those that ProMax will automatically generate. Many different correlations are used to approximate the properties for the oil. Each of these has appropriate ranges of applicability, and you can choose different correlations for each property. ProMax can also generate several plots to allow you to easily compare the information ProMax is calculating with any information you may have, so you can get the best results from your simulation. Now that we've looked at a quick oil characterization, let's close back to the flowsheet. You can see by looking on the flowsheet that ProMax is very visually oriented. All of the pump arounds and side stripper draws are shown on the flowsheet as to which stage they are being taken from and returned to. These can be changed by simply connecting the process streams to a different connection point on the tower. Any stage can be selected for these options. You might notice in this example that several stages are not showing, such as all of them between stages 9 and 18. This is by choice and allows you to show only what you wish to show on your flowsheet. Double-clicking on the column will open the project viewer back, but this time with the tower information selected. The Connections tab shows what streams are connected to this tower. It also indicates what type of draws are on each tray, if there is one. These can be light liquid, heavy liquid, or vapor draws to allow you to simulate whatever you want to. Column type and any add-ons, such as a condenser or reboiler, can be specified in the Process Data tab. The Stage Data tab allows you to specify which stages are shown on the flowsheet, what your pressure profile of the column is, if there are any three-phase stages, and temperature and other information about how the tower is simulated is also shown on this page. Sizing calculations can be done by supplying a minimal amount of information about the tower hardware. In amine simulations, this column internal information is critical for calculating the residence time to correctly estimate the extent of reaction and amine absorption in the tower. Skipping down to recoveries, ProMax will show you how much of each component is leaving from each column outlet. Going to the Specifications tab, ProMax helps you keep track of all of your column specifications from a central location. Most any desired specification can be made from this page, including read vapor pressure or true vapor pressure outlet specifications, or condenser temperatures, pump around draw rates, and many other options. Plots of most any information about the column can be easily generated. Here's an example of the temperature profile of this crude tower. Now if we go back to the main flow sheet, if we click and drag a call-out box from the Streams shape set, I will demonstrate one of these options. Once the shape has been added to the project, we can then connect the line, or tail, to the process stream that we are interested in displaying information of on the flow sheet. Double-clicking on the currently empty box will bring up a dialog where the information you wish to be displayed can be selected. Here we choose whether we want to display a property or a composition of the stream, or both. Let's choose Properties, and then Temperature, and then selecting the right-facing arrow will actually select that property. You can see the temperature is now added to the list of displayed properties on the right-hand side. These can be modified to show the grid lines, titles, units, font size, type. All of this can be changed to match your preferences. A property table is also available that works similarly to the callout box. The property table can display information about many process streams at the same time, along with information about energy streams, blocks, or even user-defined variables. If we wish to zoom in on the flowsheet, we can select the Zoom option from the Visio menu bar, and you can easily zoom into a specific area of the flowsheet. You can later zoom back out in the same manner. I could choose to zoom back out to show the entire page. Instead, let's go to the previous zoom level, which should show the same thing. To delete a callout box on the flowsheet, you can either select it and press Delete, or select it, right-click, and choose Cut. Let's create a report on our flowsheet. First, select ProMax from the menu bar. From here, we can select what type of report we would like. Let's choose Excel. The checkboxes that are available on the left allow us to choose what part of the project we would like a report on. For the entire project, select the box next to ProMax Project. This page also allows us options on what unit sets to use in the report and what properties and bases we would like reported. Once you have selected your options, click OK. ProMax then calculates any additional information it needs and then prompts you to save the newly generated report. We can then see the final report and how it is separated into pages. The first page gives general project information, and the second shows the refining flow sheet. After this is the started pages giving information on all of the process conditions and specifications. Any of this information can be manipulated or used in any way that Excel can use data. To easily navigate through these reports, any computer that has ProMax installed has access to our Report Navigator, which can direct you to specific information in the report. Hopefully this short overview has helped you find some of the often used pieces of ProMax. Later tutorials will cover the other shapes available, the scenario tools, and many other topics in much detail. Remember to always let us know how we can help you. Our support staff is available to assist you however they can at 1-979-776-5220 or support@BRE.com.